Hey guys, Nick is here as always, and this is episode 3 of Amazon Answers. Today we're going to be talking about starting your Amazon business on a loan. We're going to cover masterminds, and then I'm going to reiterate again, like I did in my past video that you can check out over there. Is it viable to start an Amazon business in 2016? And I have some new thoughts on that.
Hi Nick, do you think it's reasonable to get a $2,500 business loan to start FBA if my wage is only $14 per hour, I have a wife and kid, as well as I rent the apartment that we live in?
Oh boy. Okay. So first of all, I would say that starting a business on a loan in general is a bad idea. Now, you've given me a lot here. 14 bucks an hour income, kids and wife, renting an apartment, and then taking out a loan to start your business. That is basically a black and white kind of no, right? That's easy. But let's say, for example, if you didn't have a wife and kids, let's say you were getting paid 20 bucks an hour or something rather, and let's say you lived in your parents' house or you lived in a place that wasn't rented. That's a bit of a, is it possible? And the short answer here is it depends on your risk factor. But the long answer is no, do not get a loan to start a business. There is other avenues and opportunities that you can do right now that don't actually require a lot of down payment. All they really require is your time. For example, you can start drop shipping, you can start a blog, you can start a YouTube channel that you are planning to monetize down the line. So Amazon is one of those things where, or Amazon private label is one of those things where you have to have money to invest into it. But if you don't have money to begin with, for example, my risk tolerance is I will risk everything except what will kill me. So even that I like in my story, even though I went into Amazon FBA, I spent 8 grand or 12,000 Canadian. I still had about 3 to 4K left over from my previous business that I talk about in my story. So in your situation, you have people that are depending on you. You're renting. It doesn't sound like you have a lot of assets because you're renting a place and you probably have a car, which I would argue is probably a liability of itself. It's not quite an asset. And you're also not making a lot of money. It's not something that you can substitute. So in my opinion, you taking a loan out to start an Amazon business is basically it's not even a risk. It's not risking everything. You're quite literally, handicapping yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot, almost guaranteeing yourself the failure. Not the failure, the fact that your Amazon product will fail, but failure in terms of, it takes time to start this whole thing up, right? Let's go through a hypothetical. You take out a loan, you do your research, you start a business. Let's say you take out a loan right when you're doing a down payment for the manufacturer, the 30% down. Let's say you take out a loan then, just what you need, because usually for these loans you have to pay like what, 10-20% annual interest. So you take a small portion out, you put a down payment down, you keep working, you keep doing your thing, your 14 bucks an hour job by day, and then Amazon by night, not to mention spending some time with your wife and family. When it comes down to paying the rest of it, you pay it again. And then by the time it arrives in Amazon, you will already owe interest for 2 months, give or take. Now, while you're trying to get your sales started, let's say you did your product research, everything went great, the supplier is awesome. Let's put aside the thought that the supplier might be a bit sketch, might even take your money and run with it. In which case, you've just set yourself even that much further. And let's say it arrives in Amazon, and let's say you're getting like 3 to 5 sales per day, which is, some people would consider that pretty good, pretty average amount. But will that be enough for you to pay back your loan in a timely manner? No, because 4 to 5 sales per day might accumulate, let's say 2 to 4 grand, depending on your price point, 2 to 4 grand a month revenue, of which half of that will be profit. So 1 to 2 grand profit. And let's say your loan was a couple of grand, and now you're owing 20% interest. So that's anywhere between 2 to 400 bucks. Plus, you got to support your family. Like, basically, no, don't do that. Start with drop shipping. Honestly, Amazon FBA is basically like a more higher level but higher risk, higher reward thing of drop shipping, because with drop shipping you basically have a company that is willing to provide you items. All you got to do is just put in the time to learn how to create either a website or how to do cross marketing, like internet marketing, to sell that item for them, and then just send them orders and they give you a cut of it. So it takes no financial input at all. It just takes a lot of time. By the time you earn the money from dropshipping, so all the money you get from dropshipping, keep saving that. And then by the time you get a couple of grand from dropshipping, you know that this is your money. You can put it up, you can spend it on the product, and even if it fails, even if the product fails, you still got your dropshipping business being built up, right? So that is still an asset in itself. And then let's say your Amazon succeeds, now you have dropshipping and Amazon working together, and the skills are pretty interchangeable. It's just one is not your product and the other one is your product. So act accordingly. Do not get a loan. Learn the skills first.
What are your thoughts on the Mastermind group, local or online based?
Okay, so mastermind groups. When I was first starting out at this, I did not actually have a mastermind group, or nor could I find one. I looked around Toronto. The only thing I was able to find was the Amazing Seller Facebook group. Hello, all. And in fact, I actually ended up starting my own meetup. I went to meetup.com and I started my own Toronto FBA meetup. And from there, I met about 10 people in total, two of which I still talk to this day. And we're both started from nothing, and each one of us is on our second, third product now. So that worked out pretty cool. But let's say worst case scenario, you can't find any local groups, which I'm really skeptical. I think in this case, I don't want to kind of knock on your hustle, but I really don't think you're looking hard enough. So keep making a daily listing, because there's 30,000 people in the Amazing Seller group. Make daily listings, even like every 5 hours. Hey guys, is there anyone from, I don't know, Minnesota or Salt Lake City? Is there anyone from Salt Lake City? Is there anyone from Salt Lake City? Go on meetups and then find, you don't have to look specifically for Amazon FBA. You can find e-commerce meetups, online business meetups, online marketing meetups. Go to those and just talk to people, ask, like, start developing this network, because first of all, just because you can't find a meetup like that doesn't mean that there's one degree of separation. Let's say you go to a marketing meetup and you say, hey, Chuck, you're in online marketing and I'm actually starting Amazon FBA. And he'll probably say, wow, I have a buddy who does Amazon FBA. You guys should probably link up. Let's all like meet up for coffee or something. And then number two is that you will meet a lot of people with very parallel skills to yours. So Amazon FBA is not just getting product, selling product. It's also online marketing. It's also copywriting. It's also Facebook and online advertising, right? So you see what I mean here. And then final thing I'm going to say about this is that if there isn't something, create it. That's what we're in the business of, right? We look at Amazon, we find products that are underperforming, and then we're improving them and we're creating something new. So create your own group on meetup.com. Just create your own Amazon meetup Salt Lake City. Start seeking these people out one by one, because it's not something about it's not about, hey, like, I just want to get into the group and this group is already going and I just want to join it. Like be Nick Fury, make your own Avengers. That's kind of how I went about it, and it worked out really lucky for me, because one of my friends who got into Amazon later actually referred me to a group, and these people like that I connected to, I was maybe like third or fourth person to connect to, and then a bunch other came, and now it's constantly kind of changing around. In terms of online meetups, there are certain, but I do agree with you. A lot of it is kind of pitchy, salesy. Like before I made my meetup.com group, I went to two other meetups that said Amazon and eBay seller kind of thing, and it was mostly people just showing up just to learn. They were like, "Man, I have no idea what to do with life right now. Can you teach me?" Kind of like taking value instead of giving value. And then the guy that was teaching is basically like, "Well, this is my course. This is what I do." He just gives like a general overview, and it's like, "Well, now I want you to pay for everything else." So I really don't like that. I want to be surrounded by people. I want my presence for other people's surroundings to be about value and kind of like learning from each other and building each other up, rather than you pay me, I'll take you there. So to answer that question is, you just got to search more. Just put in the time. Just because you spend one day on Google or one day on Facebook just Googling the stuff around, you didn't find anything, doesn't mean it's not there. I can guarantee you there's someone in your vicinity right now that is probably looking for the exact same thing you're looking. You just got to reach out more. There's 1 or 2 degree of separation, probably. So start going to these meetups. Anything related to Amazon FBA, like I said, online marketing, online product listing, like eBay, selling on eBay meetups. Like, just find this broad array. Start plugging yourself into the network, and I promise you'll find someone.
Is private labeling still viable in 2016?
If you guys remember, I made a video about is it still, I don't think I called it is it still viable, but I called it something rather, is it, my thoughts on getting into Amazon FBA or just in general e-commerce now. Link right here. I'll link it over there. You can go check it out. But I've had a few new thoughts, and actually in the past couple of days, and let's focus on Amazon FBA specifically. Let's leave the e-commerce alone for now. The rest of it. So, is it still viable to get into Amazon FBA in 2016? And I will say absolutely yes. Here's why. You can take any given item. Let's say you take a stool or a chair, right? A wooden chair. And based on people's reviews, based on what's out there already, people will either praise the item and say how awesome it is, or they will give critical feedback. For example, it's too tall, it's too short, I don't like the wood, I don't like the color, I don't like the texture, and so and so and so. So for any given item, you can always do 100 different variations of that item, repackage it, and then sell it as your own. So in those terms, I agree. But this is basically the reiteration of my last video of what I was talking about. But here's a new thought that I had. So with Amazon FBA, the more I'm kind of getting into it, I'm now launching my second product, and I think by Q1 2017, I'm going to be on my third product. And the thought that I had is Amazon FBA is not actually restricted with just Amazon. Once you reach a certain level where you've learned how to do the listing, you've learned how to do pay-per-click, you have a supplier, or you know how to find a supplier, and you kind of learn this. There's a process to it, and you kind of know the general process. Well, now you can start learning about Facebook ads. You can start learning about building your own website where you promote your brand, and then you send people to Amazon to buy your product, or just sell the product on that. You can start learning about logistics in terms of not Amazon warehouse and pay them fees, but find another warehouse distributor for your own website, or let's say sell on Etsy, or Pinterest. They're now coming out with platforms for you to actually sell on Pinterest. So the game is just starting. Once you have your first product, more or less successful one, the game has just begun, and you can all these things, online marketing and driving traffic to your product for people to buy it. It's much more vast than Amazon. Amazon is just the quickest channel to market. It's just, I think it's the best channel. It's the easiest business model to grasp and succeed with without having any previous business knowledge. But then there is this whole array of online e-commerce that is pretty much freaking endless. So I don't know, especially with the way that I see us going with VR and, augmented reality coming out, marketing and product pitches are just going to go to a whole other level. So I would get in now. And one more thing I'm going to add, and with formal education being more or less people becoming disillusioned now, where it's not really worth as much, where you get a degree in something or you start learning about something in university. Even, let's say most degrees are 4 years, let's say 2 years later you come out, things have changed so drastically that degrees become pretty much useless, where let's say Amazon or e-commerce in general has become the only way to really success. We're moving we're moving towards an age of freelancers, people mastering certain skills and maybe surrounding themselves in small groups, 4 to 5 people, and interacting with each other on those bases, rather than one big company, a bunch of employees. I want safety. I want a plateau kind of existence, and I'm gonna work for them and get a paycheck. I'm gonna do the minimal amount of repetitive work I can and get the most money possibly can. That's done, guys. Come on, let's be serious. That's over. So now the best thing you can do now is, find a skill you're most interested in. For me, it was Amazon, specifically online sales, online marketing. I love that stuff. Not to mention making videos, so I kind of like that too. But, a skill that you can make money from. So whether it be copywriting or coding, or let's say Photoshop, video or image editing, right? Whatever it may be. And as long as you can do from your laptop, or from anywhere around the world, that's what you're aiming for, because that's where the trend seems to be going. So no, it's not late. In fact, I would encourage you to get into it right now, especially if you're doing a brick and mortar or part-time, full-time job, salary job kind of thing. I would encourage you to develop skills that will make you irreplaceable in this online e-commerce, land, so to speak. So, get into it now. Good luck. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. This concludes the third episode of Amazon Answers. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, if you got some value out of it. Hit subscribe for more videos to be updated whenever I put these out. I'm still trying to figure out a schedule of how I want to put them out, but I want to do about 3 per week. And submit your questions or comments with your feedback below so that I can have some fuel for the future Amazon Answers. You guys are the best. Thanks.